Hey everyone, it's Jessica and I'm here with another layout for the SpiegelMom Scraps design team, and there's my code Jessica15 if you want to save 15% in the shop. And I am using these two super cute photos of my baby girl. I think this was from Memorial Day this year, and she's wearing her lovely patriotic attire, and I have cut this cut file by Peartree Cutfiles. It's a star border cut file, and I've cut it out on some wood grain paper, and then I am just manually backing this entire cut file by hand by just taking the negative pieces from the insides of the stars, placing it on top of my pattern paper, and then cutting out around it, leaving just a little bit of a border around it so I can glue it to the back of the cut file. So here you see I've got my Nuvo glue out. I'm just putting a little bit of glue around that edge and then gluing that down from the back. And I'm just going to continue to back this cut file the same way for all of it. And I'm actually going to back the large stars, there's 4 of them total, with some clear acetate. And it used to be in the shop, but I think she's actually discontinuing it, or it was discontinued, so she can't get it anymore. So if there's any in the shop, make sure you grab that while it's still in stock. But I had gotten some on Amazon a while back, so that's what I'm using for this one. So I've backed all of my large stars with the clear acetate in the same sense or same way that I did all the patterned ones. You can see I have my whole cut file back now. I've backed my photos with some smooth white cardstock and then some leftover pieces of these patterned papers. And then I've used some dies in my Big Shot machine from Elle's studio to cut out these cute little tags and the little decorative piece that goes at the top. And I am just using those. I'm going to actually layer them behind my photos for just some layering and some interest behind them. So they're just going to peek out at the very top. And then here, with those large stars, I am actually going to make those into some shaker pockets. So that's why I backed those with some clear acetate. And then I'm just using the Big Mama foam tape that comes in the shop to actually put around my outside edge here of my cut file. That way I have my little shaker pocket. So you want a little bit of space whenever you make a shaker pocket so that your sequins have room to move inside there. So it creates kind of like a little window or a pocket. So I have just taken my foam tape here and I'm actually cutting mine in half lengthwise. So it's kind of hard to do, but I found the easiest way for me to do that is to just string some out here, and then I place it down on my glass mat and just cut right down the middle, and it peels right back off my glass mat pretty easily. So then I just cut down the middle of that and then cut just little strips off for what I need. So then I'm just placing it all around the outside edge of my stars, and that'll make my little shaker pockets. And then for the rest of this, you can see that I continue to put foam tape on the rest of the stars just to pop them up off of the page, just for dimension and to match the depth of those shaker pockets. And then here you can see I had a big whoopsie moment. I forgot to put my sequins in my shaker pockets before I actually went to stick that down. So I have it on here. It's still stuck down in the one corner. I didn't want to lose it completely, and I was having trouble peeling it up because I had already pressed that corner down. And then I spilled all the sequins and put a ton in that one pocket. It was all over the place. It was on some of the adhesive. Let me tell you, that adhesive is really super sticky. I had trouble peeling some of the sequins off, and that red one that you see right there still stuck to it. Yep, I leave it there because I couldn't get it off. So I thought, you know what, it's fine. If it's that sticky, it's not going to come apart or come open or anything, so I'm really not worried about it being there. Here's where you see me trying to pull that off, and I can't get that sucker off of there. So I leave that on there. I'm just spreading the other ones around, making sure there's not any on the outside edge, cleaning up my little mess here. I'm just adding these into my other pockets. I'm gonna fill in this one over here, and then dump a little bit more in to fill that one up. And then I still have quite a bit left from this mix. So I did 4 complete, pretty big shaker pockets on this, and I still have, I would say, at least half of that mix left. There's a lot in that mix, so you get quite a bit in these little pockets. So then here's all my layers. I'm gonna go ahead and start putting down these tags and put my photos down here. I want them to go in this corner. And originally on this layout, I had a white sheet of paper behind this. I was gonna do some mixed media, but I really, really loved that dark blue. It's actually a pattern paper by Simple Stories, I believe. And I used that one that was just in here in this kit that I have left over from paper issues. And I used, I think that blue paper's from Happy Travels, I think, or Going Places. I think it's Going Places. I think the actual paper was called Happy Travels. But the collection, I think, is called Going Places by Simple Stories. And it's just beautiful. And I actually threw in a lot of pieces from another collection. I think it was by Pebbles, if I remember right. All of my pattern papers were by that line, and I think that one was Hometown Summer, if I remember right. But I think it's, let me look here, Fancy Pants. I think Fancy Pants makes that one, if I remember right. That's right paper I have beside me. But yeah, so I threw in some bits from Pebbles and Fancy Pants Designs. I think, again, that one's called Hometown Summer from the papers that I used. And just threw in those tags, and the little snapshot acrylic there is by Peartree Cutfiles. I really wanted to make my other one work that I had out that said happy, and it was just clear and glittery. It was really pretty, and it's by Colorcast Designs, but I couldn't make it work on this layout because once I peeled the backing off of it, you couldn't see it on my layout. So I'm not sure what I'm going to use that one for, but I'm sure I'll find some use for it. Maybe I'll use that on one of my acrylic stash bus layouts later in the month. So I'm just pulling out the, this is the collection by Echo Park, and I'm just using a sticker book from it here. And I'm just pulling out random bits from this one. This one is, what collection is this? I know I use a lot of Squeeze the Day embellishments from it, but it's A Slice of Summer. That's what it's called. Sorry, I was just digging through my stash here. So that one, I'm just pulling out these little cute flowers and adding on here because these little flowers match this color scheme just perfectly. This whole collection actually matched really, really well. I forgot that it was kind of a red, white, and blue theme, so it just went along with this layout so perfect. Whenever I pulled out my summer bin to find some embellishments, and this was in there. So it went perfect for this layout. And then, as you can see there, laying on my desk is that Fancy Pants Designs little adhesive. They're kind of supposed to look like brads or kind of like flare buttons. So they have adhesive on the back, so they're super easy to just peel off and put down on your layout. I'm just popping a couple more little flowers and some banner pieces up there in the top left. And then I found these cute little label stickers. I think these are from Pretty Little Studio. And I pulled those out because they're in with my red, white, and blue bin. I have a couple bins here that I keep kind of seasonal, like red, white, and blue, and fall, summer, spring, winter. So that's kind of how I organize my collections. So when I mix collections together, it's usually because I've pulled out of a bin. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm just tucking some thread behind these little stickers by Echo Park. And then I'm peeling off the backing of this little acrylic piece by Peartree so I can actually glue that down to my layout. And it really doesn't take much glue to make these stick. They stick really well with that Nuvo glue. I found that to be the best for me. And also Thermoweb's Ultra Bond liquid adhesive works pretty good too. So I'm just continuing to tuck some thread behind these little butterflies and then adhering those down with some glue dots. And I like the medium size for whenever I do some thread and this kind of embellishing. And then I'm going to add that red and white striped baker's twine to my tags behind my photos. And I think I'm actually going to tie some bows with them, but I'll probably cut that part of the video out because it'll take me a little while to actually tie them all. So I know you guys know how to tie, I'm sure, so I'm not going to keep all of that in my video. And this is actually a pretty long video for me today. Usually they're a little bit shorter, usually around like 10 minutes, but I think this one is over 12, so it's a little bit longer of a video for me. But those shaker pockets take a while, and also backing a cut file. Luckily I cut that out of this video because you guys don't want to watch me back an entire cut file. It took forever. This one took a long time, and a lot of times I like to use my Cricut software to actually do that for me. And I used, my son brought me a flower. That's what I was showing you. My son was just outside and he walked in with a flower, so he's my sweetie. But yeah, I usually like to use my Cricut software to use the contour feature to hide all the layers and then just choose the ones that I wanted to cut out. So I usually back my bigger files that way, but this one I just wanted to back it manually because I just had scraps of papers. I didn't have a full 12 by 12 sheet of paper that it could cut out, so it wouldn't have worked for using that contour feature because it still needs to cut the whole file. So I'm just adding a few sequins here just for some interest in these little clusters. Since I had so many left over, I figured why not? I'll add a few more. And just using my Nuvo glue for that. I've got my snacks here on my table for my baby girl. She's sitting beside me. She's the one in the pictures, and she is hungry. She's just loving food now. She's gonna be 8 months here soon, and she is loving just experimenting with foods and different things to eat, and she loves these little puffs right now, so I'm kind of dishing them out to her periodically on this layout. But she's a sweetie. She loves to hang out here in my room with me, and my boys are in here too actually, so they're just playing. But yeah, so they're just having a blast and hanging out with Mom tonight. So I am just working on this beautiful layout that I just love how this is coming together. I love red, white, and blue layouts. I really should do more of them, but I find that I don't really take a whole lot of pictures whenever we're out and about at different picnics and things. I don't know, I forget, so I need to try to remember that. This was actually a star that was left over from the other cut file I had. I actually cut this whole file out in white first because I was going to use it in just white, but then I really wanted it in wood grain, so I just pulled out one of these negative pieces from that white card or white cut file, and I just stamped my date on there. So then I'm just going to do a little bit of doodling around the outside because I thought it just looked a little bit plain. And then that's, I think, going to finish this one up. Oh yeah, white splatters. I'm just going to add some white splatters with this Delusions paint, and this is the white linen color, and I'm just watering that down a little bit with a paintbrush and some water, and then just flicking it on with the paintbrush just to add a few splatters just to break up all that solid color. I just love that. I love how this one comes together. And I hope you guys enjoyed this process today. Again, if you want to grab the sequin mix from the shop or any of the other ones, I think it is sold out right now, but she sometimes does restock, so feel free to use my code Jessica15 in the shop for a discount, which I'll link in my description. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye bye.